This is the third part of a three-part series about the two witnesses of Revelation. In the last two episodes, we learned so much about them. In this episode, let's discuss some things in relation to the church age. And I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. We know from Revelation and other prophetic books that the ending of the age will have 7 years of tribulation. It seems to be split into two time spans of 3.5 years each, with the first segment starting showing the increasing power of the Antichrist, and with a second segment after he reveals himself and declares that he is God to be worshipped. The two witnesses appear in this first segment before the seventh trumpet sounds. The tribulation period, according to John, will have 3 sections of trials: seals, trumpets, and vials. Most theologians believe that a great falling away or apostasy will take place. And as the time gets closer to the end, true believers of Christ will be raptured to spare them from the tribulation to come. However, what they differ on is if this will be before the tribulation, referred to as pre-trib, or during the middle of the tribulation, referred to as mid-trib. It's said that the two witnesses will be killed, and the earth will rejoice over them. But then, and after 3.5 days, the Spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet. And great fear fell upon them which saw them, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. Revelation chapter 11, verses 11 to 12. They miraculously ascend into heaven after 3.5 days. Many people take this literally as that the two individuals who will be the witnesses, they will die, but then they will be taken up in 3.5 days. Those who believe that the 3.5 days represent the first half of the 7 years of tribulation, each day for a year, they think this is when all others, aside from the two witnesses, will also ascend to be with God in a glorious rapture. Those who state Revelation is in sequential order presume that this means the rapture will occur midway the tribulation. However, Revelation is very metaphorical and symbolic, so it could easily represent before that time period and not necessarily midway the tribulation. Let's go a little deeper. In Revelation chapter 7, we get the story of the 144,000 remnant of the Jewish nation who will be sealed for the time of the tribulation by the Holy Spirit. Though it's not clear if this means that the Jewish nation will have a specific amount of new converts during this period, it's very clear from Acts chapter 1, where Pentecost occurred, that we are in the church age, where the dispensation of God's Holy Spirit is alive and still active. It is forever working in believers to do God's will and to bring us to His glory. We find a reference to olive trees in Revelation 11 verse 4, and it is actually a description of the Jewish nation. Olive trees are a symbol of peace from the days of Noah, and even the oil was used by priests in the Jewish tradition in the temple. We find that there is also a reference in Revelation 11:4 to candlesticks. And this verse shows that it can actually be the description of the church and his elders. So to get specific, the description of the two witnesses, these two olive trees and these two candlesticks, could mean a few things. It could mean two men who would come from the 144,000 remnant of the Jews. Or it could be two men who are generally from the church age. Or, since the church represents candlesticks and is a seed of Abraham's covenant, which is a representative of the olive trees, then it could also easily mean that it's the entire combination of the witnesses of Christ on earth who can be either Jews or Gentiles. So the two witnesses may be symbolic of the church, or it could be directly two individuals who will lead and prophesy during the last days. Whatever the results, know that Christ will shine forth like a day star, and his people shall do exploits. Prophecy at all times is understood in reverse. It's very possible that it is only on seeing what happens in the end that we will fully understand what John speaks about in Revelation. Until then, let's keep our candlesticks lit with the everlasting Spirit of Christ.